Hi, this is Roz and this is Paint Pouring with Roz. My name is Roslyn Eve and today we're going to do a continuation of the last video. The last video we took two paintings because I didn't like the composition. We cut them in half and we had three that made a good set and the fourth one didn't. And so I decided to take the fourth one and we're gonna play with it today and see if we can come up with something good. So that's what today's video is about, and let's do it. Okay, so the last one I showed you about the three pieces. They were actually, a set. You see this one was a set, and this one is a set. And we cut them into pieces, and that made them more exciting. Okay, so now that makes a set of three. So what are we going to do with this odd man out? So if you look at these pieces, what makes these so exciting? Okay, well, what makes them so exciting is you've got very strong areas of interest. There's not enough light to dark range here for this one to be really exciting. Now some people will say, well, Roz, I really like that as it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you like it like it is, that's fine. But notice the more exciting drama that you get when you've got a stronger area of interest. See how you've got 1, 2, 3 here, and you've got, a small one there too close to the edge, but you've got this one and this one. So you've got 1, 2, 3 here. And you've got a really strong one here, and you've got a little one there and a bigger one there. So again, you've got 3. 3 is the ideal number, 1 or 3. Okay, so of areas of interest, I mean. Okay, so if you're looking at this one, then we can play with that one because we have an extra piece now. And we can go, well, what would we like to do with that? How can we make that one exciting like these ones are? Okay, so how could we make that more exciting like that? Well, if we sanded an area and we put in some light or more dark, definite dark, like this really dark blue, look at how exciting that makes that. Look at how exciting the red there, the contrast of the really dark and the light, and then adding color, intense color, how exciting that could make that. So what will we do with it? Well, we're going to sand it. We're going to sand at least the area that we would like to improve. So what do we like about it? What do we like about it? Where is the most boring part and the more exciting part? Well, there's a little bit of excitement here with the white versus the dark. And this is the most gray or most neutral area. Would you agree? The most boring area. So if we're going to sand an area and try to improve it and make it more interesting, then that would be the area that we're going to mess with. And it's an experimental piece that we could possibly throw out or re-sand the whole thing if we don't like it and redo the whole thing. But let's just mess with it while we can, because we can. Okay. So I'm going to sand this, and we'll catch you in a few minutes when I'm done sanding. Okay. So you can see that this is much shinier there at the top, and see how dull it is at the bottom there. And that's the whole idea, is to try to get it to be much less shiny. And if you can, try and get down in these little grooves where they're lower spots, if you can get a little bit of that. Now I've used a really thick grit of sandpaper. Was that 80 grit? Dean?
Yes.
Yes, 80 grit. So that's really scratching the surface up quite deeply, and that's going to give you a really good grip there for the paint to attach onto there. Okay. So now we can paint it or do whatever we want. If we wanted to redo the whole thing, we could, but I'm gonna try just doing part of it and see how I feel about it. I definitely want some dark blue, because that was one of the things that I really loved in here was the blue. And I definitely want some white. And this is all from other pours I've done here. And what have we got in here? Ooh, that needs to be mixed. See how it's all cracked and a little bit cracked and stuff, how it's unmixed itself. So if I'm going to use that, I would have to stir it up and maybe add a little bit of Floetrol to it. I would like some yellow, maybe. I do have some yellow here that's pre-mixed. Or some red, which that's a lighter, intense red. I believe that's the same red that I used there. Okay. My paints are almost all of them are all Montmartre. There's some Liquitex, but most of my paints you'll find are Montmartre from now on with my work, because I really like them and I buy them in the big, huge quantities in the big jug, and I get them on Amazon. So there's the Floetrol, Floetrol that I'm using, and I've already, and we're going to put some water in there too, because that's what's happened is sitting there. It's gotten somewhat dried out over the last few days, week, whatever. Okay, so let's throw some water in that. There we go. I always just do approximate. I know everyone likes, the other paint pourers like to do everything exactly and everything. Sorry guys, I'm not that person, so let's mix that in. And you can see that that's kind of the color, or that and white would be the color that was one of the colors in there. So you're going to mix it really good, and let's add a little Floetrol to that too. Okay. Grab a Kleenex here to set that on. And we'll just put a little Floetrol in there. There we go. Yeah, some people do mostly Floetrol and paint. Like, there's all kinds of recipes out there, so you follow whatever recipes that you are comfortable with. Okay. So let's look at the consistency, which is the really important part. There we go. You can see it's runny now. You can see it's not making really a mound. It just disappears like instantly. So that's plenty runny enough. Let's check the blue. And believe it or not, I save my Chinese food containers, these little containers here. And I find that, they clean up pretty good. I use a toothbrush to get down under this lip here. Don't always get all the paint out from underneath there, but hey, who cares, right? Okay, we're going to mix up a little bit of red here and a little bit of yellow. Okay, so we got rid of the Floetrol now because we don't need it. Let's open these back up. Now I keep everything covered all the time because I've got a furnace vent right above me. You may hear it going on and off. and that can be a bit of an issue. So we don't want to go get the paint up past where the shiny. You just want to go to that line, and I don't care if you paint pour the whole thing or not, or however you want to do it. And let's make sure that we've got, let's see, I believe that these all have silicone in them from previously, except for these two other ones here that I just made up. So I just, because my bottle is getting low, the OGX coconut milk is getting low. You can see there's very little in the bottom, so basically I'm just taking it like this, and I like to do it this way anyway, to be honest. And then I go like this, and then I can control how many drops go in there. There we go. And 1, 2, there we go. Okay, so how do I want to do this? Why don't I just go like this? I like the Jelly Cube way of pouring stuff on there. And yeah, we'll put the green down near the bottom here. Don't want a whole lot of that. There we go. Good enough. Then we'll put some yellow. Okay. And some red. I think we'll put a little along the edge there. Make sure there's lots of paint on the edge. And we'll put some red. Now, I want the red to be more in here, so let's put the red more up because I'm going to swipe down towards the bottom. So let's put the red more in there. And the blue. And we want some nice strong blue in there. And there we go. We'll see how that goes. If we don't like it, we can wipe it off. What the hey? We're playing, right? Okay, so now I do have this Jelly Cube created, what she calls a Swifty Swipe. It's just a piece of plastic. In this case, it's one of those paper dividers, those plastic dividers that they use in filing. And you just cut a slice out, and then you just, this side is smooth plastic. This is a plastic palette knife like this, only it's bent, and it's got that bend in it. See the bend? There's the smooth side, there's the Scotch tape you can see on this side, so it's away from the paint, so that's nice and smooth. Okay, so I'm going to be swiping it this way, and obviously I should have got out my, okay, hang on. I have this great grill work piece that I don't know where my husband got it, but I'm just glad he did. And I use that for flat canvases and things like this, so that they're raised up. So then I'm going to flip it this way so I can get a better grip on what I'm doing. Okay, and we'll turn it this way a little bit because I'm right-handed. Now, some people will put, you know, like white. Do we want to do that? Do I want to put a little white stripe across the top? We could. Okay, let's do that. And I want a little more white in there. Okay, there we go. See? Do whatever you feel like. Okay, so I'm going to swipe this, so let's get this in the white. I'm going to move it up a little. I'm going to swipe it down. I don't care if it's perfect. Alright, and a Kleenex is always helpful. Yeah, I managed to dribble on it. No problem. Just take your Kleenex and get rid of that. Let's do this side a little better. Okay, and this edge a little better. There we go. Now, this is the point when you're doing a transition thing like this. I'm just wiping off my little swifty swipey thing here. Okay. So when you're doing a transition thing like this, and you want there to be no noticeable transition, then just take your finger like this, and maybe you want to take a little of that green and dull out the blue a little, there. Or you can add a little bit of your yellow, you know, whatever you want, so that your transition isn't as noticeable. So there's not an exact line there. You can wipe some if you like this. However you want to do it, because we're just playing anyway. Yes, I know I should have my gloves on. And I didn't think to do it, but it's not the end of the world to get a little paint on your fingers. But yeah, it's better if you have your gloves on and you can wash that. Okay. Okay, so now this other side doesn't seem to have a straight swipe to it. So let's tip that. Let's tip it that way. Let's tip it that way. Let's see if there's enough paint on there to do that. You see how it's, I'll turn it this way so you can see. I'll tip it back. So it's not all perfectly even. And I would rather not have quite that much white there. Okay. And you'll say, well, I don't really like cells that are all wobbly like that. So then don't have cells that are all wobbly like that. Go like this. Go like this. Now you've got all new cells again. And there we go. Now the red did not come up. I wanted more red in there, so let's just put some in there. And let's just try that again. Let's see if we can try that again. There we go. And I would like a little darker blue in there. So, now we have it. Look at that. Okay, so it's at this point that we always take our little trusty little heat wand here. This is the one I use. I bought it from Amazon. Okay, and I'm going to Okay, I'm back. I've got my wand here. This is the one that I got from Amazon. That's what it looks like. Okay, and that's what I'm using. And I'm looking at this and I'm realizing that it looks really like I should have swiped this way or this way because the motion of the rest of it is like that, so I think I'm going to do that. I think we'll try swiping this way. I think I would like a little bit of more white, so I'm just going to dip it in my white here. And put a little more white in there. And dip it in the red. And put a little bit of red in there. Let's see what we can do. I think that should be good. What do you think? You like it? We'll see. Alright, I think a little bit more white. Just dipping the corner in my white paint there. Let's just run it through there a little bit. Let's take the heat gun. And I'm looking at that and thinking it really needs a little bit of orange in there. So let's just put a hint, get my finger in it. Why not? Okay. I don't want a lot, just a little bit, just a hint, because this is orangey in here, so just to tone that down a little. And a little bit maybe in here, just to tone it down a little bit. A little too much red there. And I think we're just gonna, even though I haven't sanded this end, if you only put a little tiny bit, you can still, when you coat it, it will attach and stay under there because of the coating. So just a little bit, and just a little bit in here of the dramatic blue. See how we're creating some areas of interest there. Okay. Way more exciting. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it at this point. I think it's blended in fairly well. So let's just stop it at this point and call it done. And you can see now when we look at this one again, you see how we've brought it up to the same level of excitement of color there with that. And if you look at this one, so now you could maybe even do one that is, you know, this is all a set. Or pick two and pick two as sets. Because now it's got the dramatic light to dark range and everything in there. It's got more area of interest. Okay, I think we're good. So you have to let me know if you like it. If you please consider being bold and playing, and you know, because if you like part of the painting that you've already done and you can match the colors, then there you go. You know, it's like you can do a lot of things this way. Okay, well, again, if you found this informative and if you liked my video, well, you know what to do. You click the like, click the bell, click the subscribe, and you'll get more, which of course is always good. Okay, well, thank you. I enjoyed seeing you guys again, and I hope that you learned something and that it'll make you a little more brave to try stuff. Okay, thank you. Bye for now.